Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about this week's TV news because despite being a week till Christmas, give or take, it's actually still quite a busy news week. I've got quite a lot written down here, so a lot of new shows, a lot of
Still new shows.
still new shows. We're heavily in that ordering pilot, stuff's in development, all kinds of wacky nonsense. It's all happening.
Damn it.
It's all happening. We got casting news. Me and Connor had to stop ourselves from talking about Star Wars because we've seen Rogue One, and we're doing the review tomorrow with Matt on 1.21, so you can look forward to that. Actually, no,
We,
but
we, sh- we should also point out, I think it was last week on the news we said we're going to be covering a certain show tomorrow.
oh yeah, we've jumped ship. Yeah, we said we were going to be reviewing the second season of Man in the High Castle. That was until, of course, we realised that there was a new show on Netflix launching on the same day, and it looks much better. So,
In our defense, Netflix didn't announce this before this week. This
oh
was
no,
a surprise launch thing, wasn't it?
yeah. All the news headlines said secret Netflix show launching this week.
Yeah.
It's called the OA, and it's watch the trailer. I'm not even going to tell you what it's about
We,
because
we don't really know, I'll be honest.
but it looks promising. It's 8 episodes, and we're going to have reviews of that going up probably about two a day, starting day of release, which is Friday. So this is why the news is going up a little bit earlier than usual because we're usually when we've got a binge show to do at the weekend, it starts on a Friday with Netflix typically. And we usually do the news on a Friday night for sort of late Friday, early Saturday. We'll move it a day ahead so that we can get it out of the way and we don't have to squeeze too much in at the same time. Especially when we've got a Star Wars review to do for the
Which,
movies.
and they typically go quite long.
They typically, I'm going to try and keep this one short, but I feel like you and Matt are probably going to
There's a good chance of it, isn't
dig
there?
deep. Yeah, you're probably telling me about 100 characters from other movies
Hey,
that I didn't
there's
recognise.
there's references from just voiceovers that me and Matt want to talk about.
Do you know what I might do? I might say my piece and then mute my mic, then walk off and get a snack or something, and maybe.
Maybe advisable.
Uh,
Well, basically, folks, this is an advert. Go watch Rogue One, and then you can come back probably tomorrow evening time, by the time we're all done, and you can listen to what will likely be a relatively lengthy discussion.
and it'll be somewhat of a mailed fuzz civil war
There may be fisticuffs involved.
because I will say this: there is a line in the sand, and we don't know Matt's thoughts on the movie yet, but me and Connor are on polar opposite sides of the opinion, so that could be a hoot, could be painful. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Someone might get stabbed.
Oh, I'm bringing body armor. Don't you worry. But let's talk about TV news because that's what we're here to talk about. So, yeah, first up, a couple of renewals and cancellations just to quickly, knock out. First up, Stan Against Evil has been renewed for season 2 at IFC. We did cover the first episode. We were actually kind of negative on it, which was surprising because we thought it sounded quite cool and fun, but the pilot didn't quite click. It might have gotten better, I don't know, but it does get a second season at IFC.
The
No,
thing is,
no details, so I assume next year.
it kind of means nothing to me because I've seen so much shit get renewed.
That is also true.
Like MacGyver.
Has that been renewed?
I don't know, but it probably will do.
No, it did have its season extended. It got a full
Yeah,
order.
no, I'm just
Yeah.
see. That's the thing. I don't trust people so much that I'm just sure it'll get renewed. That's what annoys me about it.
This is the problem because I assemble this news every week. If you give me a offhand comment about something being renewed and I've not put it in the news one week, I'm like, wait, has it?
You're like, did I miss something?
Are you sure? do I act like I know it all and tell him he's wrong, or do I play?
Well, see, I didn't necessarily mean it had been renewed. I'm just,
Yeah.
what are the odds of it not being renewed?
Unfortunately, small.
Exactly.
2016 sucks, and MacGyver's just the cherry on the shit cake. Also been renewed, TBS has renewed 2 shows. One is People of Earth, which we did do the pilot for, and we didn't love it, but we thought there was potential. And the other show they've renewed is Search Party, which we actually didn't get a chance to cover because they aired all 10 episodes in 1 week over Thanksgiving, and our schedule was just too hectic to try and fit it all in. But I did hear some positive things from a few people.
Okay then.
It's a dark comedy, and they've renewed it for season 2. I don't know if they're going to do the same thing where they do the whole show in 1 week again, but this is
Interesting, because usually that's a bad sign.
It usually is, but they made it like an event kind of thing, and maybe
Yeah.
that worked for them. This is the network, of course, that did air all of season 1 of Andrew Tribeca on one day, and then renewed it for a second season, which has already aired the same year and has been renewed for a third season. Which, hey, perfect time to plug. Our worst shows of 2016 video is online. It's already been up. You can check that out. I'm sure there'll be a link at the end of the video for it if you want to peruse it.
Yeah, spoiler alert, that shows up.
That does show up. Our best new shows of the year is also up. We also have best episodes and best overall show of the year still to come over the next few days. So yeah, all this natural plugging going on here. I'm liking it. It's nice when you can just fit the plug into the conversation. And then the last sort of not renewal but cancellation is Marco Polo's been cancelled at Netflix. Season 3 is not happening. So live with your 2 seasons.
I'm kind of gutted about that.
Did you enjoy it?
I really liked season 1. I hadn't get around to season 2 because obviously it's so hectic with all of this that I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. So that's kind of going to be a little bit bittersweet. But they did a special as well, like before season 2.
Okay.
But I guess it was just too expensive to make because, I mean, if you watch it and look at it, you see how expensive it is just on the visuals.
Well, I think it's relative because if it was successful, I'm sure they wouldn't mind because they happily pump the money in. Because if you look at Netflix, have only cancelled about 4 shows. One was Bloodline, one was Hemlock Grove, and the other was I can't remember the fourth one.
But they gave them all an extra season to wrap up, didn't they? Like a short one.
Not all of them, no. Bloodlines is getting one, but I'm pretty sure Hemlock Grove and the other one just I think they got maybe a second season, but then they get cancelled. I don't think.
All right, I'm sure when they got like cancelled, they knew going into the season that it was their last, at least, so they gave it an actual ending to all their shows.
Possibly. Right now, I think that's memory speculation, but.
See, I'm pretty sure I read something because I saw this piece of news earlier in the week. I'm sure I read an article that said all the other shows that have been cancelled got like actual endings.
I know Bloodline did because Bloodline still got a third season. Like they get renewed for a short third season to wrap things up. So I don't know if Hemlock Grove and whatever the fourth one was also had that, or if they at least just knew like when they were writing. But by the way, you're not getting season 3. I don't know. I don't know if season 2 of Marco Polo does that have a rounded ending. I have no idea.
From what I hear, not at all.
Well,
which is a little infuriating, but that is TV, I suppose.
It's funny though, when I looked at the list of things they've cancelled, it did seem like all the things that were less popular. Like, I don't hear people talking about these shows as much as the other ones.
You don't, and which is a shame, because it was a good show. It was just, I don't think it ever caught on to an audience.
Because, you hear people talking about Orange is the New Black, House of Cards, Narcos even. Like, you hear about these shows, and obviously Stranger Things and the Marvel stuff that we tend to cover. Like, you hear about all these shows getting talked about, whereas I feel like these ones are the ones that, like, yeah, they are the kind of the weird stepchildren, or where I'm browsing Netflix and I'm like, oh yeah, they made that. Like, and they made that,
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching The Crown lately, which is obviously a relatively new one from them, and that is way more expensive because it is, most expensive show ever made.
I believe that's been successful for them, though, because they listed that along with Stranger Things as 2 of their most successes.
Yeah, I mean, they've already said they've got like a 6-season plan for that, like in motion.
Hope that doesn't tank in season 2.
Well, yeah, the idea is each season covers a decade, and it goes from like the start of her reign to present day, give or take.
All right, okay, fits in nicely then, I guess.
Yeah, so there is like a logic to their plan, but we'll see if it stays successful.
All right, next up we have some casting for Star Trek Discovery. Quite a few names here. We have the lead, and I'm going to apologise because not only are some of these the actors' names, ones that I'm not familiar with, I also have some Klingon names to say throughout this article, so bear with me. So Shaniqua Martin Green has landed the lead role on the show. We don't have a description of her character, but we know from previous news reports that the lead character is a lieutenant commander, so that's what we do know about her. Other than that, the only thing to really note is that she's been on the last couple of seasons of The Walking Dead. That's where people know her from. Right,
okay, so I won't recognise her at all then.
No, I'd never heard of her, but that's what she's been on. It's worth mentioning that this show's already had like a very diverse cast of characters. It's worth mentioning that this is a black female lead for this show.
Yeah.
So once again, this is Star Trek kind of driving that forward, which is great because that's always been a big proponent of that.
Star Trek being Star Trek, basically.
Yeah, and I think we need it.
Yeah.
Right about now, I think we need it. So she's the lead, so that's pretty cool. The other stuff we've got, though, we've got 3 other cast members who've all been cast as Klingons. Yes, all 3 of them. We have 3 Klingon characters. Chris Obi, Shazad Latif, and Mary Chieffo.
Should I know any of these people?
I don't think so. I'm just reading them out because I thought,
No. Just checking.
Yeah, that's not. Well, I'm reading them out because they all have little descriptions of who they are, so it makes it hard to say who they are, what their characters are if I don't have the names first. So Obi will play T'Kuvma. That's T''Kuvma. A Klingon leader seeking to unite the Klingon houses. Latif will play Call, commanding officer of the Klingons and protege of T'Kuvma. And Chieffo will play Larell. It's L''Rell.
I can't wait till the show comes out and we can come back to this video and just watch you try and pronounce it, and then we'll go, that's how it is.
Well, yeah, once I hear them say it, it'll be fine.
Yeah, obviously. I can't wait for that.
Larell. Because it's a Klingon, I can see it being a really weird pronunciation. Like, they don't have to abide like normal language rules, so it can be really weird. But yeah, so he's the battle deck commander of a Klingon ship. So we get three Klingon characters all cast.
Yeah, and that tells us a lot. Obviously, they're 3 two of them are linked, but one of them seems to be off on a separate thing. So maybe the Klingons will be a driving force of whatever the plot is.
And it does mention the first one, T'Kuvma, is seeking to unite the Klingon houses. So that would imply there's at least a couple of Klingon factions.
Some Klingon politics going on.
Yeah. Get your Klingon.
That was atrocious.
I apologise for that deeply. Moving on to some other casting of note. Molly Ringwald has been added as a recurring guest star on Riverdale. She will play Archie's mother.
I kind of love this.
This is great news. I wish the trailer looked better because I'm at a point now where I think this is going to be terrible, which is a shame because this is fantastic. Molly Ringwald, of course, is a big 80s star, was in a lot of teen movies, and she's going to play Archie's mum. He gives a little blurb here to go with it. Mary Andrews, she is, left Riverdale 2 years ago to follow her dreams, but blows back into town in her family's hour of need. She not only reconnects with Archie and her husband Fred, played by Luke Perry, also an 80s star actually, now that I mention it, but also her former high school friends of Hermione and Alice. Her reappearance coincides with the homecoming dance.
I kind of love that though. It sounds trashy as all hell, but I feel like it could be a good kind of trashy.
I don't know. I would love a good Archie show. I've been enjoying the comic, and the fact that they're going with a darker twist is great as well, because I've been loving the Afterlife with Archie comic, which is horror based. But that trailer, man, oofed.
I've never read any of the comics, and that trailer did look bad, but the premise alone is enough to make me go, come on, this could be trashy and amazing.
I hope this is an Exorcist situation where we go in thinking it's going to be bad, and then the pilot just blows us away. Well, maybe blows us away is too strong a word, but
just goes, oh, this is adequate.
Oh yeah, this isn't bad. Do the high pitches.
This is all right.
Yeah, the high pitches. All right, let's go on to the new shows, and there's a lot of them. Actually, no, sorry, we're not on the new shows yet. One more news story before that.
You unprofessional bastard.
ABC's extended a bunch of its comedy orders for the season, which is weird because most of these already had been extended, so this is like extensions. The following shows have all had a couple of extra episodes added. The Middle, American Housewife, Fresh Off the Boat, The Goldbergs, Blackish, and Speechless. Speechless been the one show there that I actually care about. Yeah, but they've all been given 1 or 2 episodes extra. So Blackish and Goldberg's got 2 more, which means they have 24 this season, and the rest all had 1 extra, meaning that Speechless and the rest have 23 episodes this season.
Is Blackish a new show? I thought that was last season.
Yeah, I think so. I wasn't implying that all of these were new.
Oh no, okay. I was like, that seems weird to extend You don't usually see it past season 1.
Yeah, a lot of these maybe were 22 to begin with, but they've all had 1 or 2.
Yeah,
Even extending the new one twice is weird. Like, this is...
that is true. Yeah.
So I think this might be from the fact that all of ABC's new dramas this year have all tanked badly.
They need to fill the slots a little bit.
Conviction and Notorious being the notorious examples of of that. What would you want from me?
Better than that.
That was a quality line. Thank you very much. Now we have some. Well, this first one's kind of a bridging into the new shows because we have spoken about this before, but the pilot's been greenlit. So
Is it The Deep?
Do you know what's funny? It is Freeform, but it's not The
Man.
Deep.
See, I don't care anymore.
Freeform has given the green light to Lonely Island's comedy Alone Together.
Okay, I do care again.
You've perked up a bit. Yeah, if you remember this, we spoke about this when it was like first announced to be in development. It's 2 overlooked millennial misfits from different backgrounds who enjoy a male-female platonic relationship as they try and navigate life in Los Angeles.
I do vaguely remember this.
So that's been greenlit, so that's actually happening.
That's cool, because I remember us, like, obviously aside from the Lonely Island stuff, which we spoke about, obviously, I remember it because the male-female platonic, where that's never usually mentioned.
Yeah, which is unfortunately extremely rare in network TV. Well, okay, technically this is a cable, but basic cable, same rules.
But it was, I remember we mentioned this before because like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, no, it is, but no. So that's happening. Next up, though, How I Met Your Father is actually maybe going to happen. Again.
Yeah, again, but it's completely different to the last time they tried it.
Yeah, all of the cast that were involved in the first pilot, which they made in 2014, are not involved. None of the cast or characters from the original show are involved, and they don't expect to see them. But they're making a new pilot. Although it is worth mentioning, the first version was called How I Met Your Dad, so they've changed the word dad to father.
Which is so much better, right?
It does sound better, I'll give you that. Although now it does sound like a weird spin-off to Empire Strikes Back.
Sure. I'd be okay with that, though. Yeah, if it turned out to be.
Well, imagine if Luke got a sitcom called How I Met My Father, and it was like just a retelling of Empire Strikes Back and like Star Wars and like sitcom style.
I'd be so down for that. Oh man, Disney, make it happen.
It's worth mentioning that 2 writers from This Is Us are actually writing the script for the new pilot.
I did see that. I also saw this has no network attached to it yet.
No, this could actually end up at a different network than CBS, which was the original show's home.
So, could be interesting.
It could. I don't. Well, this is the thing. I watched 4 seasons of How I Met Your Mother, and I kind of gave up on it because it's kind of got like there was things about it I liked, but there was also the CBS multi-camera canned laughter. Ted's one of the worst main characters in the history of television.
It's kind of a dick, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the worst. But of course, Alison Hannigan was in it, and I watched it for her because Buffy.
See, I love that show, and it was at its best when it was doing strange things with its narrative structure and playing with time. And like that was kind of what I would think of as its thing, if that's what they're going to carry forth into this.
Do you know the weird thing is? The worst thing about that show for me was Ted's relationship drama. Like, I enjoyed it when it was, it was slap bets. When it was, Robin's got a music video from the, it was the 90s, but a little of the 80s.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff was great to me, but then it was kind of ruined with all the Ted, will he be with Robin? Will he not be? Oh no, they've broke up after 1 season. Who could have thought that happening?
Yeah, all right. I get those complaints. I'm not going to argue with that. But like I said, like there was episodes where you had 3 different storylines that were played as if they were happening simultaneously, but were actually at 3 different periods, but then interconnected. And those things were when it was at its best. So if it can take that as its thing for the show, rather than let's make it about actually, let's tell the story about how we met someone. But if you take the time element and have that as the kind of...
It's almost weird that the core concept of the show was its biggest weakness. Because it got to a point as well where it was ridiculous how long it went on. Like, how long has he been sitting on this couch talking to his kids?
Yeah, I get that.
And he's telling his kids about all these different women that he's had sex with. Like, this is some sort of weird...
Yeah, no, that's fair. But I hope they take that idea and translate it to the new thing. And, obviously all new characters, all new whatever, but have that still as the connective link. I'd be down for that.
I like my point though. When I started that whole description of my thoughts on the show was that I basically don't really care about this one way or the other.
I care quite a lot, I'll be honest.
I'm indifferent to it. If it ends up being good, then great.
Obviously, This Is Us is on NBC, isn't it?
It is, yes.
And obviously, NBC is sorely lacking in its comedies right now. So maybe they'll shop it around to them with their This Is Us link.
I'll tell you what will interest me. If they ditch multi-camera and go single camera and take out the canned laughter.
Well, that's fair.
It is a new show, so technically they could do that. And
They could. Nothing saying they won't.
And maybe don't, even though it's called How I Met Your Father, maybe don't play it the same way as How I Met Your Mother did, where it's constantly the mother with, oh, is this love interest going to be the father? Like, they can't do that again. If they start doing that again, I'm just out instantly.
Fair complaint.
So, but that may be a thing again. So, nothing gets you in the mood for a pilot like knowing that it already was made into a pilot and scrapped.
Well, see, you say that, but it tends to make me optimistic. It's just like, yeah, we tried it and it didn't work, but the idea is good enough, so let's try it again, but better. It's like, we can do better than this.
Okay, normally I would agree with that, but I feel like there isn't really an idea here. It's basically, let's swap the gender and do the same show again.
That's fair, yeah.
This is not really an idea, it's just...
Basically, what they need to do for these pilots is get the right group of people together, because that's what it's going to live and die on, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah. If they get the right writers, right cast, and then, that'll work. Honestly, if you're going to, I feel like it's a stupid idea for a spin-off, because it is essentially the same idea with swapping the gender. What would have been way more, amazing and way more creative is if they'd started this while the original show was on the air, and it was the mother. It was the mother that was going to eventually meet Ted. And it was the two sides of the story, so that when they eventually meet, you see why they needed each other at that point in their lives, and it clicked that way. That would have been some serious forethought, and that would have worked. But maybe that's given what was essentially, a silly, jokey sitcom too much to do.
Yeah, and to be fair, they never knew that they were getting renewed for a lot of their seasons.
Yeah.
They were never that safe, apart from a few seasons in the middle.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's move on then. Other comedies. NBC is developing a show called #Blessed.
I'm out. I will not stand for anything that uses a hashtag like that.
Do you know what? I would maybe accept it if, say they make a movie. It's funny because they didn't do this, but see if they called the social network #something, I would have accepted it because it's about the guy who made Facebook. You know what I mean?
I mean, other than hashtags came from Twitter, sure.
You still use hashtags on Facebook. Well, okay, sure.
Yeah, they copied it.
Okay, whoever came up with Twitter then, whoever started
when they do the movie about Twitter.
Hashtag Twitter. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Can I guess the premise?
Okay,
I'm not going to be totally wrong, but it's about a priest or some sort of religious person who preaches through Twitter or other social media.
#Blessed follows an eccentric group of parent bloggers who work at an all-digital mummy media company and the recently divorced single dad hired to manage them.
I prefer my idea.
Completely wrong.
Well, I just thought we're not getting enough untitled ones that we can guess a good title for recently, so I thought let's reverse engineer it.
Honestly,
give me a title.
I don't like this idea, but I don't have a problem with it either. It's a workplace comedy, you get a new boss, typical, could be good, could be bad, writers, actors.
I agree, but it's got an atrocious name, so I don't care.
It's got an atrocious name, yes. And what about when you're doing a hashtag for #blessed? Do you do #blessed?
No, that's the trick. It's already #blessed, so you just have to put that in, and it's there.
Nah, it's like Inception. I'm not having it.
I don't think you can hashtag a hash. Unless you hashtag and then type out.
Well,
hashtag.
Twitter is going to have to develop a new system and incorporate it to allow for a double hashtag.
Bloody TV complicating things.
All right, next comedy. Fox is working on a single camera comedy called The Bastard.
Better name.
It's not about Connor, just in case you're curious. I'll get that out of the way. Uh,
Shame.
The Bastard follows Warren, a hard-working hotel janitor who has a freak accident at work and is told by his mother, who mistakenly thinks he's on his deathbed, that he's the bastard son of a wealthy founder of the hotel chain. Warren seeks out his real father, hoping to connect, and eventually earns a place in the wealthy but dysfunctional family. But no matter how hard he tries, he will always be the bastard.
I'm kind of in for this.
Do you know, I think it's a little bit overly... I mean, obviously, most of this will probably play out in like 3 minutes of screen time, but it sounds a little bit overly complex for me, but I do love this idea that he will always just be the bastard.
Yeah, because the show is clearly going to be a family dynamic with the class system in play, and that's what the jokes are going to be about, presumably. And then you have the outsider stuff, and I could see this being fun.
Yeah.
Again, obviously, as usual, cast, writers, dependent. But
yeah. Especially, we always say that for comedies, but it's always worth repeating. That's what makes a comedy good, is the cast and the writers. Alright, let's go on to... one more comedy. I do apologise. I keep jumping ahead.
You're really bad at this today.
I keep jumping ahead thinking I'm on to the new section, but I'm not. Multi-camera comedy, this time on CBS, so you've already lost interest.
Yeah.
It is a reboot of The Honeymooners, which is a very old show from the 1950s, which I've never seen. There was no description given with this, but because it's a remake, I went to Wikipedia and seen what their synopsis of it was. A bus driver and his sewer worker friend struggle to strike it rich when their wives look on with weary patience.
I'm not sure I care enough to even say anything about this one.
It's funny, I've never seen it, but it kind of sounds like, in a weird way, like an American version almost of Only Fools and Horses.
It does.
Different, but...
Yeah, I mean, playing a bit more on the wives, sure.
Yeah.
But the idea of them just trying to strike it rich constantly.
Yeah.
And I'd rather just watch Only Fools and Horses again.
As would I. Plus, CBS multi-camera. I mean, I'm basically out when I hear those words.
And then when you could do that, or you could watch Only Fools and Horses again.
Also, I mean, after The Great Indoors, my opinion of CBS comedies is further just tanked.
Yes, like that reputation needed tarnishing anymore.
That said, we will most definitely check out a pilot if it happens, because we are gluttons for punishment.
Yeah. We're really bad at this, aren't we? We really make ourselves watch some awful stuff. You better appreciate it, people.
Speaking of reboots, we're on to dramas now. Foxy Brown is getting a TV show at Hulu, starring Megan Good.
This is not one I would have expected.
No, it's not. Again, there wasn't a description, but obviously the movie has a description, and I have seen the movie, so I can actually give an opinion on this. But Foxy Brown is basically a revenge story. Foxy Brown, who in the movie was played by Pam Grier, sought out revenge for the murder of her boyfriend by a drug syndicate. So it was all about her kind of infiltrating and taking them down.
Yeah.
I really like the movie. It's directed by Jack Hill. I think it's a great sort of gritty crime movie with her going for revenge. Kind of a... like, you can tell that obviously Tarantino's a fan because he cast Pam Grier and Jackie Brown. But even something like... you can see a little bit of an influence from something even like Kill Bill. It's very sort of... I wouldn't say grindhouse, but obviously it's from the blaxploitation era of cinema, and it's good. It's really good. She was great in it, and it was a really solid movie. I highly recommend it. TV show? I could kind of say... I mean, I don't know what the plot is week to week, per se.
Well, you just kind of really lean into that infiltration and espionage element almost.
Possibly. Well, that'd be season 1 at least. Yeah, I can.
Well, yeah,
I can see that.
But then this is Hulu. Is it definitely an ongoing thing, or could it be a limited?
True, it doesn't mention if it's one or the other.
No.
Megan Good in the role is interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I like Megan Good. Mainly because I had a crush on her when she was on Cousin Skeeter and I was like 12. So, it's always a pleasure.
As good a reason as any.
For her to pop up. Yeah. Well, it's one of those weird things where you've grown up with them, because like she was a bit older than me, but she was underage. She was like 15 or maybe whatever when she was on that show, and I was like
Yeah.
11, 12, and now I'm in my 20s, and she's in her mid late 30s probably by now.
Give or take.
I know, no, mid 30s, no, not late 30s, but
Yeah.
but I don't know if she has the chops to pull this off. Like, because the reason why the movie worked so well is because Pam Grier like stole the every time she was on the screen, she grabbed your attention and she took it. And I don't know if Megan Good has that, but I would love for her to prove me wrong. But then again,
Yeah.
I also have never seen her in something where she has a chance to do something like that.
That's what I was just thinking. It's like maybe she could, but when do you ever get to see it?
Because what have I really seen her in other than like Cousin Scary? I've seen her in one of the Saw movies, and she was in something. I don't know. It's not been a lot actually. Now that I think about it recently. All right, next up, swinging over to sci-fi, we have Lindsay Fonseca being cast in a new show, along with Elizabeth Cappuccino. I just, you know what? I seen Cappuccino and then I did a double take.
So that can't be the name.
Is her name really Cappuccino? No, it is Cappuccino. Elizabeth Cappuccino. They've both been. She was in Jessica Jones actually. I'm not sure who she was in Jessica Jones, but she was in Jessica Jones.
Sorry, what was her name? Something Cappuccino?
Oh, I know who it was in Jessica Jones. She was the.
Don't say the annoying flat person.
No. I think she was the girl that Jessica saves in episode 1, episode 2.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think that's what it was. I seen the picture and I'm just sort of piecing it together in my head now. I think that's what it was. But yeah, they've been cast in Sci-Fi's new supernatural horror pilot called The Haunted, and it centres on 4 siblings: Juno, played by Fonseca, Hester, played by Cappuccino, and then also Virgil and Ellis, who have yet to be cast, who reunite following their parents' death as they try to overcome their fractured personal relationships. They find that they must also face the literal ghosts from their past in order to survive. Plus, we also have a little bit on the characters that these two are playing. Fonseca's Juno is a woman of science who is forced to come to terms with a new perspective on the world after she realises she can no longer rely on facts alone. And Cappuccino, playing Hester, is Juno's sister, is searching for a purpose and is determined not to miss out on all the fun. So it sounds like she's the scientist who's like, oh, ghosts, crap, I need to re-question my beliefs.
Yeah.
And then it sounds like Hester's more the party girl or something that wants to just be there because, oh, ghosts? Oh, that sounds like fun.
Do you know what? Maybe 2 years ago I'd have just written this off immediately. But after the last few shows, this sort of type that Sci-Fi put out, this could be all right. Bit of not great, but trashy fun.
No, I'm down for it. I mean, I like ghosts and stuff, and I like Lindsay Fonseca, so
What's not to like?
So yeah, if she's leading this show, I think that's fine. I'd much rather watch her on a ghost show than Agent Carter.
Yeah, you could argue that kind of decided it wanted to be a ghost show at points.
She'd already left by that point though.
Well, yeah.
With no explanation, unless they added a random...
they had the musical number. I don't think she was in that.
Yeah, but they might have had there was episodes after that. They might have mentioned her. Because we
too
stopped
late.
watching.
Too late by that point, isn't it? There was like 2 or 3 episodes left when we gave up.
Yeah, we gave up. So who knows? But I mean, again, it could be trash, but it could be fun.
Yeah.
Next up, we have a new show in the works at CW called Transients. Ian Somerhalder is producing. He's not starring, but he's producing. In Transients, when consciousness transfers become legal in the future, an ambitious young musician finally gets the kind of body and life that he wants. But the procedure has side effects, sending him down a dark rabbit hole where identity, memory, and the past start to violently collide.
Man, that sounds really cool.
Sounds
alright. I mean, it's on the
CW,
CW, so it's probably not going to be quite as cool as it sounds.
Yeah, I can see that being really cerebral if it was on another network, whereas on CW I can see it being more, light-hearted in comparison, but...
I can see it taking some cues from iZombie, though.
Ah, yeah. If he's got like another personality that starts to bleed into his own. Yeah, I can see that.
I don't know. I'm down for trying this.
Yeah, interesting. But no, that's Transients, CW. Next up, we have a show in development. There's no network, although it's Lionsgate TV, and they did just buy Stars, so that might be where it ends up. But there's no network, so it could pop up in a more. I could see them wanting this in something that's not as. Because Stars obviously is a premium channel.
Yeah.
I could see them wanting this on a more widespread network, given
Makes
what
sense.
it is. But I'll tell you what it is. So, creator of The Librarians, John Rogers, is set to write the pilot and executive produce a TV adaptation of fantasy franchise The Kingkiller Chronicle. Have you heard of The Kingkiller Chronicle?
I have.
You
I
have?
think I might have even read the first one. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh my. Well, there's a lot to this because there's going to be movies as well, so
Ah, okay. I vaguely remember hearing some rumblings about this a while
Yeah.
back.
So perk your ears up. So they're simultaneously developing a feature film and television projects based on the Kingkiller Chronicle, which is a novel series. There's a trilogy of novels. I think the first two are out. I don't know if the third one has been released yet. And the movie will be based on the books. So that'll be presumably a trilogy they'll be wanting of movies based on the books. Whereas the
I'd assume
TV,
so.
whereas the TV show will expand on the world outside of the books. So TV's going full on extended universe stuff here, and it's hard to talk about this almost. I mean, I certainly don't know anything about the story, and you sound like you might have read it.
Who's the author again of the books? I'm trying to remind myself.
Patrick Rothfuss.
Do you know what? I don't think I've got the book. It's on my shelf. I don't think I've got around to reading it yet, which is why it's like, okay, I know this one.
I think I might have read it.
Do you know what the problem is? There's a lot of these fantasy books that kind of have similar titles that when you read a lot of them, start to blur together a little bit. Because I have an entire bookshelf in the other room, literally full of fantasy books.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not a big fantasy guy, and that's part of my problem. Is that I look at all these titles and they all sound like generic fantasy stories,
You kind of just start ignoring the titles because they are just all like, they're all generic.
And I'm sure there's some gems in there, but like they all just look the same generic stuff to me from the covers. But so it tells. So this is the sort of what the book's about here. So it's an autobiography of how do I pronounce this? Kvothe.
KVOT.
Cuth. Is the K silent?
I don't know.
Voth? That's silent
Voth?
K? Voth? Voth. Cuz. Again, when they say this in the show, this will be much easier because we'll have heard it. But
Well, see, I know some people. Some actual names are like TH at the end,
Yeah.
so you'd think sound, but it's actually like a TE sound.
Alright, so Vota. Kind of like
Yeah.
a Russian sound almost.
Yeah,
Kozota. I don't know.
or just Kavot.
Kavot. Yeah. Could be. Oh, that's a weird name, but again, it's fantasy, so they like to, sprinkle in their weird names. Connor's researching. Yeah, but it tells the autobiography of him, who's an adventurer and famous musician, which is an interesting little perk there that you don't usually hear with fantasy stories. The plot is divided into two different action threads. The present, where Kavoth tells the story of his life to Divan Lockhees, known as the Chronicler, pardon me, in the Waystone Inn, and then in the past, which makes up the majority of the first two books, the present day interludes are in the third person from the perspective of multiple characters, while the story of his past is told entirely in first person because it's the story he's telling.
It's not a bad idea.
So it's just perspectives. So I presume that'll be the movie, and I can see that working well as a movie. Like you start in present day with him at the end as an old man or whatever, and he's with the other guy.
Yeah.
And maybe we come back every so often. Certainly end there as well, with it coming back to present day. I can see that working a lot, quite well. And I have no idea what to speculate what the show will be about because I've not read the story. I have no idea where they could expand it, but I presume there's a world that it's in that they could, maybe side characters they can.
Yeah, I mean, you have to assume so, don't you?
Yeah, but
See, I think I remember. I said, I heard rumblings of this deal.
Yeah.
I think this was a while ago when they first announced the plan for it. Video games were also involved. They had a game planned as well.
Oh, the joke this was like, oh, they're doing Dark Tower as movies and TV. Well, we're going to top that with movies, TV, and video
No,
games.
that's what it was. And because I remember talking to this about this with one of my friends who has read the book, and was saying how some of this might be hard to play as a game in terms of their rules for Magic.
All right, okay. Maybe we
'Cause they're a
should
little
fire
bit
you and get
unique.
your friend on instead, because he seems to be
Maybe I think
way more knowledgeable on this.
If I recall, if I'm thinking of the right one, a lot of the magic is to do with names. Like the names of things is very important to the magic.
Right, okay.
Which is why you were saying like, oh, so that might be awkward for a game because it might be a difficult mechanic to implement.
Yeah, because you can't just have any word in a game.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas, so I'm kind of getting a bit of knowledge here, and now I'm thinking, have they given up on the game entirely, or
Maybe
have
that'll
they
be
just
a separate announcement, or I could see that maybe just being like a Telltale thing, though, if they wanted to still do it, like,
yeah, it could be.
you know, because then
That would make sense.
you'd get away with doing that because you just write whatever you want in a Telltale game because it's linear story.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
But no, I'm curious. I'm not like super hyped. I'm not a huge fantasy guy, but at the same time, I can enjoy them if they're
I
fun
quite like
enough.
my fantasy, as you can tell if I have a bookshelf full of the stuff.
Yeah, but I'm someone who was bored to tears from Game of Thrones and dropped that like a hard rock early season 2. So you know,
By the way, the name is pronounced Kvoth.
Kavoth, which we never even got
Yes.
close to. I think we said everything but that.
Yeah, Kvoth. Kvoth.
Kavoth.
There's not much of a gap between the K and the V. It's like Kvoth.
Kavoth. Kavoth. I can't do it.
Yeah. Your accent probably doesn't help.
No, we're just gonna have to go with Kavoth for me. I'll add a syllable where I need to. But yeah, so that's the Kingkiller Chronicle. That's in development. No network yet, so it's maybe a little bit of the way off. But yeah, maybe we'll get some more news soon. I am intrigued by this TV and movie,
Multi-format, yeah.
kind of thing.
I do like the idea of, like, because this isn't going to be playing on the same characters, so it can be just entirely standalone. So it should function perfectly well, regardless. If let's say the movie fell through,
Yeah.
it should function as a story in its own right.
With a bit of hope, I would imagine it should be set like post-present after the movie or way in the past, so that it's just like, it's maybe some history they'll refer to at some point in one or the other one, but it's not directly.
Yeah, so it's not. So you don't go, oh, why aren't so and so referencing events that are happening right now?
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking how like season 1 of Fargo offhand mentioned like stuff that happened in the 70s, and that ended up being Fargo season 2, like that kind of thing where it's like it's in the past and it's long ago that you don't expect characters to be mentioning it constantly, or the
But if
details
they
can still
do,
be vague.
there could be a good reason for it.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
oh, that would be my guess, but then again, I'm saying this without having any knowledge of the world or anything like that, so it could be anything.
See, that's the good thing about it. I don't think you need that much knowledge to assume that they might go in the past, because it's just a logical choice, because you can flesh out the world, establish things like the rules, and have some history while still telling a story, and not, as long as it's far enough back, not be too beholden to what the movies are going to be doing.
Yeah. Let's move on then. So, this is a weird one actually. Miramax has picked up a Japanese series. So technically this is not them announcing or developing it, but it's one we're going to get access to now because of them, so I think it's worth mentioning. It is going to be a mini-series from Japan. It's a horror suspense called Crow's Blood, and it's 6 episodes. And it's been created by Japanese record producer and television writer Yasushi Akimoto. I just thought it was funny that it was a record producer.
It's a strange combo, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it even says he's the mastermind behind a number of the country's top idol groups, including AKB48. Have you heard of them?
I've not heard of those ones, no.
No. And you of course, are heavily into music, so between the two of us, you're the one who might have heard of
I also listen to a fair bit of Japanese pop as well, so it would not be that out of the realms of question for me to have heard of them.
Yeah, and also 2 members of this group, this pop group, are going to be in it.
Okay, that's maybe a little bit more worrying.
Yeah, Ryo Nishimura is directing it, and 2 members of AKB48, Mayu Watanabe and Sakura Miyawaki. And apologies if I'm mispronouncing those names. I'm doing a bit. I don't think I do too badly with Japanese names. I feel like I can wrap my head around those
I think
better.
the thing with Japanese names is they're very syllabolic.
Yes,
You just
yes.
break them down to the syllables, but they're kind of how they look.
Yeah, I might get the odd little one wrong, but I feel like for the most part I'm on point with those. But yeah, so the story is set 20 years since Dolly, the first clone sheep, was born. Since then, cloning medical techniques have advanced considerably, and the regeneration of human organs, which was thought to be impossible, has become a reality. In the series, a mysterious transfer student played by Miyawaki arrives in the all-girls school, and strange events occur that upend the lives of other students, including Watanabe's sweet-spirited character.
I'm sorry, wasn't Dolly the sheep in like '94?
Yeah, it was in the 90s, yeah.
So this show is actually in the past.
Well, maybe present day. You can't remember exactly when it was. It may have been 96, 97.
I mean, it might have been. So yeah, I suppose present day.
Maybe,
But
maybe 20 years is just a rough. Like, maybe it's not exactly 20 years.
no, I know it could be, but it feels like they want to be set slightly in the future. Is kind of what they're aiming for with the premise. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it is just present day. Maybe it's just in the very near future, so it's like 2 years from away.
Yeah,
or whatever,
yeah.
I feel like I'm like obviously cloning is going to be part of the plot, and we know it's horror, but I feel like we don't really know what the actual plot of the show is because it's like it's characters at an all-girls school, which by the way makes it feel very Japanese.
It does, doesn't it?
But I have no idea what the actual, what the story is going to be in the school. Like, what is someone going to get cloned, or is there going to be like someone with cloned organs who starts acting weird and gets scary? Like, what? I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
I want to watch it. I have no doubt about that. But
It should be batshit insane, if nothing else.
yeah, it's an enigma. So yeah,
That said, when was the last time there was pop stars acting and it was good? Actually, Haley Steinfeld, I suppose.
was she a pop star first?
I think it was kind of she tried to break into both at the same time.
I don't know. If you watch Space World, it's the acting in that's phenomenal.
Aye.
I almost believed there were 5 real human beings. It's astonishingly good.
That is high praise indeed.
Dear. I can't think of any other pop stars turned out. I'm sure there's been a couple of good ones.
Well, I mean, you had what's her name in American Horror Story?
Lady Gaga.
There you go. And she was apparently not great, from what I read.
I never got to. I watched one episode of season 5. I never got to her. I don't think.
I didn't dare even try, but I didn't hear any good things, so that's usually not a great sign.
It isn't, no. But yeah, that's that. That's the thing that's happening. So that's Crow's Blood. Cool title.
It's a good title.
Yeah,
Yeah, see?
good title. Anyway, next, Fox is given a script commitment plus penalty to Basket Case, which is based on a best-selling book by Carl Hiaasen. Basket Case centers on a former hotshot investigative reporter, Jack Tagger. That's a good reporter name, Jack Tagger. Who is now an obituary writer, and a mess consumed by his own mortality. Joined by a dysfunctional group of friends, this redemptive crime drama uncovers the sun, fun, and seedy underpinnings of South Florida.
I kind of wish this was a sitcom instead.
As do I. I'm not against it.
No, I'm not either. It could be alright. But like I said, oh man, that premise is a sitcom. That's what I want.
Yeah, it sounds. Him being a obituary writer does sound kind of fun now. And like, is he like still investigating crimes? Is it like it doesn't sound too procedural? I hope it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Unless he writes a new obituary every week, and it's like, oh, what happened to this person?
Oh yeah. I don't know. It's got enough quirkiness in that description that I'm kind of it could be good. There's a chance. As Connor dies. Next up, ABC is developing a show called Down in the Valley. Down in the Valley is described as a darkly comedic hour-long drama and family soap, told from the perspective of a talented female police officer who returns home to Napa Valley to support her struggling family after her troubled sister disappears and leaves her infant daughter in need of care. When she joins the Napa County Sheriff's Department to make ends meet, she quickly realises that her posh, bucolic, small-town paradise now has more than its fair share of big city problems?
I'm not sure I care in the slightest.
I feel like I would if it was on a different network. I feel
Yeah,
like
that was kind of the problem.
with ABC, I kind of see what this is going to be. Whereas if there was a small chance, it would be like, oh, she comes back to her hometown, this small town, becomes the sheriff, and there's all these weird things going on. Not necessarily supernatural, but just like there's like I could see I don't know. Maybe I'm just I'm wanting it to be Twin Peaks, I guess, is what I'm really saying.
Yeah, but do you know the bit that turned me off? I was like, no, this isn't going to be great.
Yeah, what part was that?
Family soap.
Yeah, that's the words that I do not appreciate myself.
See, you have ABC and then family soap, and it's like, okay, I'm kind of out on this one.
That's fair. That's fair. Oh well. Taking on to our last news story of the week. Speaking of ABC,
Are you sure it's the last one? Yeah.
Positive.
Okay, just Jay, you've been miscounting all night. I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, that's the last one. Reba McEntire is heading back to TV. Do you know who that is? I'm curious.
The name doesn't sound familiar.
She's a country music superstar, apparently. So this article tells me.
I'm not that big into country music.
Nor am I.
Okay.
Nor am I. But she's also an actress, so it's funny that we're joking about pop stars becoming actors earlier. But she's coming back to TV, which implies that she's previously been a TV star. And she's going to be in a show at ABC that's in development from the creator of Desperate Housewives, Mark Sherry. And it's untitled, so...
Oh, finally.
So we get to end in our game, we get to name this. It has been described as a Southern Gothic soap opera. Again, there's that word soap, which we don't like. It's set in motion after a horrible suspected act of terrorism happens at a 4th of July parade. This is not what I was expecting after the words soap opera. Yeah. After a suspected act of terrorism happens at a 4th of July parade in small town of Oxblood, Kentucky, the FBI sends a cocky agent of Middle Eastern descent in to investigate, and he teams up with the mercurial local sheriff to uncover the secrets of the far darker than either could have ever imagined. I butchered the hell out of that description.
Was this a case of you, or was it poorly sentenced?
No, that was me. I think that was mostly me.
Okay, you're going to take the blame on that one.
What do you make of this untitled show?
See, if it didn't say soap, I think I'd be much more into it.
I'll be honest, there's a lot of elements of this that I'm not quite sure how they go together. Mark Sherry did Desperate Housewives, so there's a certain tone that I'm expecting. That tone does jive with soap opera. It does not jive with terrorist. Also, we've got this country music singer who's an actress who's obviously, she's a bit older. I've seen that, in the image, she's in her 50s, 60s kind of thing, and so she's obviously, I don't think either of the main characters that this talks about. This talks about a Middle Eastern agent, and it talks about the local sheriff, which I don't think's her. Maybe it is her. I mean, she could be, I guess, but it doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think they'd have mentioned if it was her.
Yeah, you'd think so. So I'm thinking she's just someone in the town. Could be the mayor, could be just a regular character, sheriff's wife maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, this is a really strange description. I
have no idea what to expect of it, I should say. And as for titling it, geez,
there's so much different stuff that I don't know what strand to follow.
I'm going to be safe and call it Oxblood, because that's the name of the town.
That was one of the ones I considered. As you were reading it out, I was like, yeah, I can see I'm doing
Oxblood. And it's a peculiar enough name that I think
it's distinct
works.
Enough that you could use as a title and it would be unique.
And you'd go, what's Oxblood? You'd be curious about it.
I could see them going with that. I mean, they do it all the time, don't they?
So I have no idea what to expect from this. I guess I feel indifferent towards it because I just don't know what it is, but
I feel like I need a trailer of that one to really tell me what this is.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of them, you read the description and go, okay, I have a very clear image of what to expect.
But then the other word in that description was Gothic. Southern Gothic soap opera. And they
I
uncover
just don't know.
secrets far darker than either of them could ever imagine. So is it they think it's a terrorist attack, but then it turns out to actually be something,
Like in the town, that's just
yeah, like something sinister, like a cult or something. I don't know.
they just go all hot fuzz on it.
I'd be kind of game for that. I don't know.
I'd be way more game for that than actual just a terrorist thing again, because I feel like I've had enough of that on TV in the last few years.
Yeah, it's funny actually. I didn't put this in the news because it wasn't so much news as it was just a sort of basically
Tangential update, is that what this is?
no, it was TNT were developing a show called Civil, and it was basically about a fictitious like second American Civil War that happens like in present day. But they were trying to work it out for a long time, but they eventually canned it because in sources and this is speculation, but the common thought is that it was a little bit too close to home was the phrase for current real life political climate.
Boy, that's not a great sign, is it?
It's not, but I left it out of the news, but I thought I'd mention it anyway because
We're here and it popped into your head.
it popped in my head. Yeah, basically is the gist of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's the news. That's everything. We got through it.
Yeah, we did.
So just about an hour long that one. Lengthy, meaty one. But yeah, that's all this week's news. I guess what's left is to pick our favourite show of the week or recommend what was worth watching this past week. Obviously, it was a lighter week. A lot of the shows had mid-season finales the previous week, but we did have a few there. Since the last time we did the news, we had Scream Queens, we had Exorcist, we had Incorporated, and we had Timeless.
Ash. Yeah, and Ash vs Evil Dead.
And Ash vs Evil Dead, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know. That was the Ash vs Evil Dead finale, by the way, this week.
Alright, how was it?
That was good. Some very questionable, actually I can't say it, there'd be a spell to even say that's involved in the show, I suppose. I'll tell you after the record, but there was some questionable logistics in a, shall we say, a supernatural / science fiction plot device.
Okay.
Other than that, though, it was a blast. It was really good.
Good stuff.
Well, I'd pick it as my favourite of the week. Oh, mate, what are the other options? Scream Queens was good. Timeless was pretty good this week. And
So I'm on a weird level where everything's kind of really similar this week.
Yeah, honestly, it might be Ash vs Evil Dead. Nah, maybe Exorcist. Exorcist had a really strong episode, now that I'm thinking about it. This is what happens when Westworld's not in anymore. There's no obvious choice anymore.
But even when we took away Westworld last week, we still had like a bunch of other stuff. I just think there's not enough shows on where these last few are all very similar quality.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with Timeless, because once again it proved that it can play up with its structure and have something fun and do something different.
And that was the mid-season finale of Timeless this week as well.
Was, yeah.
Scream Queens has one more episode, which is its finale, and as does Exorcist. They're both having their finales this coming week. There'll be another episode of Incorporated, I believe, as well. And of course, the other big thing we're doing, though, is, as we mentioned at the start of the show, Netflix's new show, The OA, starting on Friday. We're doing one or probably two, but maybe one on Saturday, depending on how the timeline works out. Reviews of that per day till it's done. Get into next week.
See, we literally have no idea what to expect from this. We barely even know the premise of the show.
Yeah.
But it's anything to get us out of doing Man in the High Castle.
Yeah, because season 1 of Man in the High Castle was pretty weak by the end of the show, and we were
kind of just doing it because, well, it's on and nothing else is on, so
yeah, we're
why
in
not?
this quiet period. All of the regular shows are stopping. That said, though, we have a lot of end of year stuff going up as well. We already have, as we said at the start of the show, the best and worst new shows up. There'll also be best episodes and best shows overall going up over the next few days, as well as, of course, between Christmas and New Year's, we'll have best movies from 121, worst movies, best horror movies from Screams, and all that kind of thing. So yeah, look out for all that. And but that's about us, guys. So let us know what you thought of any of the news items in this week's show. Like and subscribe and all that stuff.
Also, I have a request.
Oh yeah.
In the comments, tell me your favourite singer / pop star turned actor. I really want to know what you come up with.
If any.
If any, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Keep watching TV, and we'll see you next time.